tonight on Osrc television. My name is Oyewumi Ayinigbara. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has distributed new vehicles to 14 permanent secretaries in the state public service. Aiyedatiwa at the handing over ceremony in Akure said the gesture extended to all the 14 permanent secretaries his administration has so far appointed to aid their productivity and give their best to the civil service. Governor Aiyedatiwa added that the beneficiaries included 4 of the permanent secretaries who had retired recently. Head of Service Bayo Philip thanked the governor for encouraging civil servants to ensure that the system is kept running smoothly. Moving the vote of thanks, the permanent secretary on the State Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, Mrs. Foluke Tunde Daramola, appreciated the gesture, saying it showed that the governor is a good father to the people of the state and wanted all within the service to run seamlessly. The maiden meeting of the Ondo State Governors Advisory Council has been held in Akure, the state capital. The meeting, hosted by Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, was held at the banquet hall of the Government House. The Advisory Council is made up of selected leaders of the All Progressives Congress APC in Ondo State, with the objective of offering counsel and support to the governor on issues of governance and growth of the ruling party. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole has the details of the meeting.
It is the maiden meeting of the Ondo State Governors Advisory Council under the chairmanship of former National Vice Chairman of the APC, Pius Akiyelure, while the National Vice Chairman, Southwest of the party, Isaac Ikemeke, serves as the secretary. Hosted by the leader of the party in the state, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. The closed-door meeting deliberated on various issues bordering on the growth and development of the state. The GAC meeting came barely a week after the governor hosted the party's caucus meeting and ahead of the general stakeholders meeting. Speaking with journalists after the meeting, the GAC chairman, Pius Akiyelure, described the party as fruitful, noting that it focused on strengthening ties between the government and the party.
I am encouraged by the participation of our members. At the end of the day, it came out to the fact that we all believe we are a bridging gap. We want to make sure the government and the party have the same common goal, and whatever is going on in government is exposed to the party people, so they can equally go back to the public and disseminate the news about the activities of government.
Former APC National Vice Chairman Southwest, Bankole Oluwajano, commended the government.
The 2024 governorship election in Ondo State, Dayo Awudi and his supporters, as well as leaders of various political parties, have joined the All Progressives Congress APC. Receiving the DKMPs in Akure, leader of the ruling party and governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, congratulated the defectors under the platform of the Sunshine Grassroots Network from various political parties, including PDP, SDP, and ADC, on what it described as a wise decision to join the progressives. Aiyedatiwa pointed to what he called the evidence of good governance under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu at the federal level and his own administration in the Sunshine State. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole again completes the story.
Members of the opposition parties in Ondo State, led by the deputy governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the November 16, 2024 governorship election, Dayo Awudi, and his supporters, as well as leaders of various political parties, have joined the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. Awudi, a former commissioner and former state vice chairman of the PDP, was the deputy governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the last election in Ondo State. He announced his defection, citing his alignment with the progressive ideals and developmental agenda of the current administration. Awudi commended the leadership style of Governor Aiyedatiwa, noting that it informed his decision to join forces with his administration and pledged to work for the unity and success of the APC ahead the 2027 general elections.
kí ni mo sọ. ọmọ wa ní ẹ̀ńtẹ̀ nàìjíríà. ǹjẹ́ ó wá yẹ ká dúró ká gba àwọn ọmọ láàyè kí wọ́n fi ọ̀tẹ̀lẹ̀ lọ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ìdúró dára. gbogbo wa túbọ̀ fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká dìbò fún ọmọ wa. mi ò tí ì jọ́ yẹn pé nígbà tí gómìnà fún mi wọ government house.
Another defector, former secretary of the Social Democratic Party (SDP), Dele Ogunbamero, said he had faced numerous challenges in his former party, but now feels at home in the APC. APC chairman in the state, Ade Adetimehin, described the new members as quality addition, noting that true political strength begins from the unit and extends to the world. Governor Aiyedatiwa congratulated the defectors under the platform of the Sunshine Grassroots Network and described it as a wise decision.
And if you are outside as an opposition, you should look for a way to gain power. For us ladies, we want to retain power. And we have everything it can take, everything that's needed to retain power because of what we are doing as the federal government and also as a national. The evidence of good governance by APC under the leadership of Ashwani Bola Tinubu, GCFR president, and also here in Edo State under the leadership of your governor, the one who gave a new mandate. The evidence of all that we have been doing is crystal clear, and that is what you are seeing. You have decided to join us so that our declaration from Ashwani Bola Tinubu that Ondo State for Tinubu 2027.
The governor charged them to contribute to the growth and development of the state while upholding the sanctity and ideals of the ruling party. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
In the meantime, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa says his administration is intentional and deliberate in preventing emergency situations, especially flooding. Aiyedatiwa stated this while receiving a delegation from the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) and the World Bank Group at the Government House ahead of the flag-off of the Emergency Preparedness Response (EPR) project in the state. It described the state's inclusion among the 7 states selected for the project, a privilege due to its proactive stance and the commitment of its administration to disaster prevention. Government House correspondent again, Wahab Bankole, tells us more.
In a bid to prevent emergency situations, especially flooding, the Ondo State government has intensified efforts at adopting proactive measures to safeguard lives and property. To this end, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa laid host to a delegation from the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) and the World Bank Group at the Government House in Akure ahead of the flag-off of the Emergency Preparedness Response Project in the state. The Government House was the venue as the NEMA delegation led by the Director of Planning, Research and Forecasting, Bandele Onimude, explained that the EPR project supported by the World Bank is designed to help Ondo State develop a robust emergency response plan. He noted that the project will involve hazard mapping, community sensitization, data collection and analysis, and training of residents on appropriate response measures during disasters.
It's a workshop that is going to look at prevailing hazards and risk that is in the state, and we're going to sit down with the representative of local governments from the three senatorial districts and SEMA to look at what are those things that should be put in place to avert the impact of such disaster when it does occur. It's not just going to stop at the workshop level. We're going to put our thoughts on paper, which we intend to send to His Excellency, and this is going to translate into a project supported by the World Bank Group.
Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who urged residents to support government efforts by refraining from dumping waste into drainage channels or erecting structures that could block waterways, said his administration is deliberate in preventing emergency situations. The governor highlighted the state's swift response to the recent damage caused by strong winds to the Akure Airport Tower, noting that normal airport operations were fully restored within 3 days to avoid travel disruptions.
For us in the state, we are also very intentional and deliberate about preventing emergency situation from happening. That's especially the area of flood control. The State Minister of Environment and Ministry of Infrastructure and the Housing working together to proactively deploy our amphibian machine to do long channelization before the rain starts, and that is why this year, apart from rising water level in the riverine area, that where some few communities had a bit of flood on the mainland because of the channelization that were on platform, we have not experienced any flood as it were.
He lamented the long-standing sea incursion in Ayetoro community, describing it as a pathetic situation that had defied measures.
It's not a case that Ondo State government can deal with because it's a major sea incursion along that belt from Ayetoro down to Awuye community. And this is oil producing area of the state, contributing so much to the national pulse, as it were. The current leadership, the country, we are working together currently to ensure that that incursion is tamed the way Barrage in Lagos has been taken and turned into Atlantic City. So we are working currently with the people that's highlighted that did that in Lagos. It's introduced by Mr. President. All thanks to him for giving them that instruction to work with us.
On the role of the World Bank in the project, Francis Nkoka explained that the institution's mandate is not only to provide financial assistance to both the state and federal governments, but also support.
With NEMA, when we had the discussion, we saw that it's important to put a lot of effort towards preparedness, but we know we are still on earth. Even if you prepare like that, disaster will still happen. So we also need to look at how do we increase the capacities to respond when it happens.
It is hoped that all hands will remain on deck towards making the state and the people safe, especially during emergency situations. From the government house in Akure, Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, Ondo State government has intensified efforts to combat flooding and protect lives and properties, with a call to residents of the state to take precautions as the rainy season reaches its peak. This followed as the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency (NIHSA) has issued a 15-day alert warning that 190 local government areas across 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory are at risk of flooding between August 7 and August 21, 2025. The agency's assessment categorizes the risk into very high, and moderate levels based on rainfall forecasts and the local terrain. Our reporter Joy Pius examined